one of my community members makes $6,000 a month from blogging, but he does it manually. So I built an AI system that does the same thing automatically, and I'll show you how I built it. What takes him 20 hours a week, my AI workflow does in a few minutes. He's already making $6,000 a month manually. Imagine scaling that with AI. Let me show you how it works. You open up the chat window and type in a long tail keyword. So in this example, I'm using top supplement for healthy skin. The blog manager agent is the overseer. This will actually delegate every part of the blog to the sub agents. So the first sub agent is the blog title agent, and this will create an SEO optimized blog title. The second agent is the blog post. So this will create the actual introduction and the blog post itself. The third agent is the alt tag agent. And so this will create the alt tags, which is used for the metadata on every blog. And you can put these into the images or any other assets on the actual blog itself. The last agent is the slug agent, and this is the actual URL of your blog. And this is actually optimized for the keyword as well. Once these assets are created, it will then use the title and generate the main image on the blog article. Once the blog image is created, it will then download the image, and then it will save all the generated assets onto Airtable. And this is the base inside of Airtable. You can see I ran one earlier for the best red light therapy mask. And this is the article that is generated for the top supplements for healthy skin. And you can see you've got a title here, again, very optimized for SEO. You've got an introduction, which is stuffed with keywords that are related to the long tail keyword that I want to rank for. It then has a body. Again, it has strategically placed keywords inside this body, and also it uses related keywords. I'll show you how that works when you stick around at the end of the video, because I'll show you exactly how you build this. And the best thing about this AI blogger is that it actually uses Google SERPs, and it uses other articles to research and to build my blog with. You've got all the alt tags here. You've got the slug, which is the main keyword. And then you have the image as well that's been generated for this particular keyword. Now, what's great about this AI system is that there's still a human in the loop step. So you've got all the actual assets that you need to generate a blog article, and it creates a status, which is review. And what you can do is you can automate the next step of plugging this directly into a blogging platform like WordPress. And the trigger can be when you change the status to approved. And so here's an example of a winning blog. And you can see that it's very basic. There's nothing here that's difficult or nothing that can't be automated by AI. It has a few elements which are necessary to rank on Google. But again, with the right prompts and the right sub-agents, you can automate the entire process. And the way this blog makes money is that these images are linked to Amazon affiliates. And so if somebody clicks on this link, they'll be then taken to Amazon. And if they purchase as a result, which they mostly do because Amazon is very trusted, then this affiliate will get a small affiliate commission. So how do you build an AI blogging system like this? Well, let me show you. So the trigger is a chat window, which is plugged into an AI agent, which is the blog manager agent here. And so for the import, it's going to be the JSON from whatever has been imported in the chat window. So for this example, it was top supplement for healthy skin. You want to make sure that require specific output format is ticked, and you'll see why. And as with any AI agent, and this is where most people go wrong, is the system message, because they don't spend enough time inside a system message. And so for this prompt, I've set it to be the blog manager agent. Your only job is to generate a blog package for the user's topic. So this doesn't actually do anything. It just delegates it. It's a project manager. I've asked it to use the think tool for reasoning. I've given it some parameters for the way the JSON needs to be. And the JSON is just the output. And I've given it a schema. So these are some of the variables that I've asked it to generate. I've got titles, post, title, introduction, body, alt tags, and slug. And I've given it some guidelines. So these are character limits for the titles, for the alt tags, for the slug URL, and also to emphasize the SEO point, which is the most important part of a blog, because that's what we're going to use to rank on websites like Google. And so once it's triggered and it's run all the sub agents, you're going to see output like this, and you can see that it's passed. And so because it's passed, I need the output parser. So let's add that first. And so the output parser just means that I can use these variables later downstream. And so this is the schema that I need, and this just tells it to turn basic text output, which is a string, as you can see on the left hand side here, to pass it so I can then use these variables individually. For the language model, I'm using Flash 2.5 from Google Gemini purely because I'm recording video and it's fast. I've got a simple memory here with a context window of 10, and that just means that I can use any previous chats inside of the chat window to interact with the language model. And then I've added a think tool as well. The first sub agent is the blog title agent, and this agent's job is to create the blog titles. That's all I've given it in terms of responsibilities. And then for the system message, your only job is to generate multiple SEO optimized blog titles around the user's long tail keyword. That's it. And I've given examples, so best red light therapy, masks for acne, and I've given it some workflow rules. And then I've given it an output format of titles, which is the variable that's going to create, and it's going to have 3 SEO titles for each keyword. And I've given it some parameters and character limits. So when it runs, you'll see an output like this on the right hand side. The language that I'm using for this is going to be Flash 2.5 again, and you can see that it's shared between all 4 nodes because you can do that. And again, I'm just doing this because it's fast. But if you want better outputs, consider using a heavy duty language model like Gemini Pro 2.5. It's going to take longer to generate the outputs, but the quality is going to be better. And the blog title agent is then attached to a HTTP request node. This node's responsibility is just to create the titles. And what I'm doing for this is I'm actually searching for Google SERPs. So I'm actually telling the agent to go out into Google, search for the keyword, and just see what's out there, because it should bring up similar related blogs, and it will show you titles that are optimized in the search results. And so for this, I'm using a Google SERPs scraper on Apify, and I'll show you exactly how to set that up. And I've got a send body toggled here because we're going to need some JSON that we send from this node back to the scraper on Apify. So head over to Apify and look for this scraper. It's called the Google Search Results Scraper, or SERP. It's by Scraper Link and it's super cheap. It's only 50 cents for 1,000 results. There's only two things that you need from this scraper. The first is the JSON. So you can just put in some search keywords here. It doesn't really matter because we're going to make it dynamic inside of Edit 10. So for this, I've done a number of search results for 10 because I'm just recording a video. You don't actually need this. And then for the country, I've just selected US because that is the biggest country in the English speaking world and it's going to have the best search results. But there's a bunch of other stuff that you can toggle here. Once you're happy with that, select the JSON tab and then you need this payload here. Okay, this is the JSON schema. When you copy that, you head back into NA10 and this is where you paste it inside of the JSON body. But for the keyword, we're going to use the JSON chat input, which is coming from the chat window, because remember, this is going to be a dynamic 100% automated workflow. The next thing you need is the URL. So head over to where it says API, click on API endpoints, and then scroll down to where it says run actor synchronously and get dataset items. You want to copy this URL here and it's set to post. So change the method to post and then you just paste the URL here. This will have the base URL, it'll have the endpoint, and it'll put your API token onto the end of the URL. So there's nothing else for you to do here. And then when you run it, you'll see a bunch of output on the right hand side here. And remember, all this is doing is searching the Google search results in the United States for our keyword. And this is going to bring back our competitors and blogs with the similar keyword, but it's going to have the most optimized search results. The next agent is quite similar, but this time this is the blog post agent. The agent creates a blog post. The prompt is going to be the chat input, but for this example, I've just defined it automatically by the model because it's coming down from the blog manager agent. So that will basically pass all the inputs down to the sub agents. And then as with any AI agent, the system message is the most important part of it. So this time it's similar to the first one, but now this is the blog post agent. And its job is to create an SEO optimized blog article around the long tail keyword. I've given it some examples and I've given it some rules. And then I've asked it to create some dynamic variables. So for keyword, post title, introductions, we've got sections as well, and we've got conclusion. And I've also given it some parameters. So do not add commentary outside the JSON. The blog post must be long form, so at least 800 to 1200 words. Now, obviously, when it comes to SEO, you want to have the biggest articles that you can create. I've just kept it short because I'm recording a video, so I don't want it to take too long. But my advice for you here is to have it set to at least 5,000 words. And then once it runs, you'll see an output like this. It's going to have the same setup for the Google SERPs, but this time it's a create post node. So it's a HTTP request with create post. It's the same URL, the same method, the same body, and this is JSON body. So everything is the same. So more or less, you can just copy and duplicate the previous sub agent and the HTTP request node. When you run it, you're going to see an output like this. The third agent is the alt tag agent. So this time it's just connected to 2.5 Flash. We don't need any HTTP request nodes because I'm just going to generate it inside of here. And for this, the system prompt is going to be the same, but now its only job is to create the alt tag and to make sure that it's SEO optimized. Remember to give it some examples and some rules. And I've generated a bunch of alt tags to give it some variety. And when you run it, you're going to see an output like this. And if you're enjoying this video, remember to like and subscribe to the channel. The last AI agent is the blog slug agent. All this does is create the slug. And if you're not familiar with URL slugs, it's basically what I've highlighted inside of the URL bar here. It's the base URL / and then your keyword. And this actually helps you rank with the SEO when you're building articles like this. Again, the prompt is defined by the model. And this time, this is the blog slug agent. Its only job is to create an SEO friendly URL slug around the long tail keyword. It always needs to be called once, do not skip. And then I've asked it to create an output format, which is a URL in the form of a variable, which is called slug. And then I've given it some important parameters at the end here. When you run it, it's going to generate this, as you can see here. Now, once all the sub agents return the assets back to the blog manager agent, as you can see on the right hand side here, we can then proceed to the next step, which is to generate a main image. So for this, I'm using the generate image node from OpenAI. I'm using DALL-E 3 because it's quick and it's pretty cheap. And then for the prompt, I've just set it to generate a high quality cover photo for a blog article titled, and I'm just taking the blog title from the blog manager agent. The style is realistic, photography, editorial magazine feel, clean composition, Sigma, 85mm, and then these are just variables that we can call inside of OpenAI. Again, you can set the style to whatever style you want, and then this is what the image will look like once it's generated. And it's not bad. Once we have the image, we then need to download it. So I've got Google Drive node here. The operation is upload. The input file is data because that's what it's called in the generate main image node. And then for the file name, I'm just using the blog manager agent, which is the title. So if I go back to schema, it's just this one here. So I've just dragged and dropped this one over. You can see here, it's green, which means it's unlocking your glow, the top supplements for radiant, healthy skin. I've just put in the root, and when you run it, you'll see an output that's similar to this. The most important thing that we need is the web content link and the web view link, because this is what I'm going to use to save it inside of Airtable. And then the last node is save it to Airtable. Now I'm only using this because I don't actually have access to WordPress, but you can actually plug this directly into WordPress. There are WordPress nodes inside of NA10, or you can use the HTTP request and just call it through the API. WordPress does have a public API that you can call. And so the resource is create. Just select the base from your table inside of Airtable. So for me, it's blog articles, and I'll match each column manually. So the title is going to be the title, the introduction is the introduction, the body is the body, the alt tags, I'm I'm using the alt tags. And again, these are all from the blog manager agent. I've got the main image, which is the web content link from the download image node. And then the status, I've set it to review. So like I said at the start of the video, you always want to have a human in the loop step. And honestly, this is like 90-95% of the work done. And when you run it, you'll see an output that's like this. But more importantly, you'll have content inside of Airtable. And there you have it. I've just turned a manual $6,000 a month blog into an AI system that runs by itself. And if you want to know where you can download this NA10 template, click the link in the description and sign up for the Automation Kings. This is my private AI community, and I've got a bunch of content in here to help you make money using AI. If you want to start an agency, I'll show you how to do that within 16 days. I've also got a post here how this automation made me $1,000 in 3 hours, and I'll show you exactly how I did that. And I've also got a client automation that I charge $300 per month per client for my own particular agency. I've also got a classroom, so if you're not familiar with AI and you're just starting out, I've got the start here, I've got the mindset, I've got the fundamentals. I've also got launch your AI agency in 16 days. So literally just watch all the videos that I personally recorded and follow the steps that you see on screen. There's also an AI automations and blueprints section. So this has every single automation that you see on my YouTube channel, but also some that are exclusive to my private community. All you need to do is just download this blueprint and upload it inside of your own NA10 account. I've also got discounts for apps and services that I use. So if you click on them, you'll save some money when you sign up. And some of these also have like a 14-day free trial. So click on the link in the description and I'll see you on the inside. But before you go, please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on, watch the next video on screen, and I'll see you when the next video drops. Take care.